Welcome back, everybody. It's Sarcasm Speaks. Jared and Bob, we're still here. So I meant to start on the last episode, but I forgot. So here we are. We have to take a loser lap. I was going to call it a reverse victory lap, but I might as well just call it a loser lap. Bob Barker died the other day. So that was another swing and a miss on the death pool. We did not have him this year. However, I went back.
When did we have him?
Through the notes. We had him in 2021.
Oh, so we saved him for 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Bob.
Yeah. Hey, let me see.
We gave him 2021 and 2022.
Yeah. Yep. So we had him in 2021. He was on our list and he did not die until like a couple days ago. So missed out on that one. We also missed out. There was this is one that like a random one that we wouldn't have had anyway, but there was like a WWE wrestler.
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
he was only 36 years old. So like,
I actually don't even, and that's the thing. So he was
there's no way any one of us was going to have him on our list.
I also don't know really who Bray Wyatt is. But anytime a fucking 36-year-old dies, like a famous 36-year-old, like that shit sucks.
Yeah. So a couple misses there on the death pool, but hey, it is what it is. Let me see if I go back. I think you hit 2 this year, right?
Have I hit 2? I hit 1. I know that. Maybe we've hit 2.
Where is my death pool? 2023 death pool. Yeah, you hit Burt Bacharach.
Yep, let's fucking go. So suck it, Burt.
You had him, Scott Steiner, Brett Favre, and Andrew Tate. No, we did only hit 1 because. Oh wait, did Jake the Snake die?
I don't know. Did he?
Because Jones had Jake the Snake.
I'll look it up, but
Jake the Snake Roberts. This took me to his WWE page. Take me to his Wikipedia.
Nope, he's alive.
He's alive. Okay. Nick had Ringo Starr, Sandy Koufax, Gary Busey, Paul White, who's the Big Show, and Harry Styles. None of them went. I had Andy Dick, Macaulay Culkin, Louis Aparicio, and Michael Caine. None of them went, I don't think. Michael Caine didn't die, did he? I feel like I would have known that. I mean, he's old as fuck, but he's also British.
British motherfuckers don't die.
That's true. He's 90. He is still alive. Yeah, okay. So maybe we have only hit 1, which is you. You're the only one that hit so
I am
far.
the smartest man alive.
Yeah. Chris was close. I think that's what it was, because Chris had Bam Margera. And there was there was a couple weeks there where it was like, oh, Bam's gonna go. But he still kicking. So we'll see. We still got about 3 months left, so we'll see. As long as we didn't go over, right?
Yeah, we got at least 1.
Yeah. So I got some.
Oh, the Iron Sheik died. None of us had him.
Oh, yeah, it was the Iron Sheik. That's who it was. That's right. Yeah, Jones had Ric Flair. Did anyone else have? I think it was just Jones and Nick that had wrestlers. Chris had a bodybuilder, Callum Von Moger, which is funny because Chris has been like tiptoeing around hits because obviously, like I said, there was a couple weeks there we thought Bam Margera was a goner. But I saw everyone on Instagram. This was maybe like 2 months ago at this point. There was like a big name bodybuilder who I didn't know who he was, but he died. Because I remember seeing it and I sent it to Chris and I was like, oh, dude, you were so close. You just picked the wrong guy. Yeah. So Chris has been pretty on. He also his other two were Paul Pelosi and Lizzo. So it's a little touch and go with Paul Pelosi for a while there.
Let him get hot.
Yeah. And then Lizzo is just a fat mess. So, she could drop dead at any fucking second from a myriad of health issues. Just fucking you throw a dart on a dartboard. She's like 400 fucking pounds. So I think Jones probably might be in the best shape because he has Dianne Feinstein. She's gonna die any fucking day. So,
well, let's go, Diane. Hurry it up.
Yeah. All right. So I saw this thing earlier today. It would be the other day by the time this comes out, that I thought was relatively disturbing. So the title of the article is America's C40 cities will ban meat, dairy, new clothes, and private cars by 2030. So the C40 is like this group of like major cities all across the world. It used to be called the C20, which was like 20 major cities all over the world, and it merged with the Clinton Climate Initiative in 2006 to become C40. So part of those cities in the C40 group are Austin, not to be confused with Boston, which is also on the list. So Austin, Boston, Chicago, Houston, LA, Miami, New Orleans, New York City, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Portland, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and Seattle are all part of this like climate leadership group thing that says they are in favor of eliminating meat and dairy consumption, private vehicle ownership, air travel, and clothing purchases. Because apparently those are the things that are fucking up our climate.
Buying clothes?
Yeah.
What are these people supposed to wear?
Don't know.
I don't understand that one of all of them. Now, I don't agree with the rest of them. Again, so is like is the dairy in the meat in the beef or the meat, is that like the cow fart stuff?
Yeah,
are we back to cow farts?
Yeah, no, we've never left cow farts actually.
Okay, so we're still on cow farts.
Yeah, we're still on cow farts.
Okay, so the cows fart too much.
Yep.
But like the clothes, like because again, I don't agree with it. But like if you said you can't eat dairy, you can't eat beef, there's plenty of other shit you can't eat. Now, again, don't agree with that idea. At least it's like, so seriously, what the fuck are people supposed to wear? Like, they can't buy clothes? Does everyone just run around naked?
They want people. So there's a chart here that I might be able to get it and post it on our Instagram. So the chart, the target for 2030, the ambitious targets, they have two columns. They have the progressive target and the ambitious target. So the ambitious target for 2030, which is 7 years from now, 0 kilograms of meat consumption per person.
You said meat, not beef, huh?
Yes.
Oh, I
said
heard
meat.
that wrong.
Yeah.
Then when you said dairy, or you said meat, I figured it was beef and dairy because of the cows and their farts.
Nope, meat and dairy. So 0 kilograms of meat consumption, 0 kilograms of dairy consumption per person per year, 25,000 calories per person per day. That's their.
Did you say? Hold on. What was that number you just said?
Which one?
How many thousands?
2,500, sorry, 2,500 to
25,000 calories per day. I'm
yeah,
like, so
I read it.
if we're not
So
eating meat, we're not eating dairy.
It's written out, and then it says kcals. So I added the 1,000 for the kcal. So it's 2,500 calories in a day, but you're not allowed to have any meat or dairy in the day. So they want you to go vegan, basically. Yeah. They want everyone to be vegan by 2030. And then the maximum number of clothing items per person per year that can be purchased are 3. You can buy 3 items of clothing. Now, does that mean like 1 t-shirt, 1 pair of shorts, and 1 pair of pants? Or like, do sneakers count? Like, are you allowed to buy a pair of shoes? Like, what are we doing? How does that work? 3 new clothing items per person per year. They want zero private owned vehicles per person per year, and 1 short haul return flight less than 1,500 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles. Every 3 years per person. So you're allowed to take 1 short trip every 3 years. That's what they want to impose on people by 2030 in these cities, which again are Austin, Boston, Chicago, Houston, LA, Miami, New Orleans, New York, Philly, Phoenix, Portland, San Fran, DC, and Seattle.
Yeah, that should go over well.
Yeah. The ultimate goal, 0 kilograms of meat consumption and 0 kilograms of dairy consumption per person per year.
I'm just glad they went with something that was completely realistic.
Yeah.
In 7 years, do they actually think that this is going to happen?
Who the fuck knows? So,
might be the most unrealistic thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. So the interesting part of this article, so the article comes from valuetainment.com, which is owned by Patrick Bet-David. I'm not sure if you are familiar with him, but he's phenomenal. He is a rich entrepreneur guy. He's from Pakistan, I think. Like the India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, like he's from one of those places. His parents came over, so he's a first generation American, I believe, or maybe he was born there and came over. He does have an accent, but either way, he's super rich, and he has his own podcast that's super popular. He's been on Rogan a few times, but he is more of like the in your face, like personal responsibility type of guy, right? Like, don't sit there and feel sorry for yourself. There's things you can do to fucking change your circumstances and, make your life better type of thing. Like that's basically like his thoughts and podcast in a oversimplified nutshell. So he owns this website where this is from. So in this one small little paragraph on this article, it says, despite so-called fact checks from mainstream media claiming that these do not constitute real policy recommendations, C40 cities across the U.S. have followed in lockstep with the agenda. So they're saying, right, this article has this chart. They're putting it out there. This is what they want. 0 meat, 0 dairy by 2030. Mainstream media is like, oh, no. That's not really what they're saying. But earlier this year, New York City Mayor Eric Adams placed restrictions on meat and dairy products served by public institutions. California, meanwhile, has been at the forefront of the push for electric vehicles, and at the same time, in Europe, the UK banned the sale of gas vehicles after 2030, and France also banned short-haul air travel. So you have the mainstream media and these people being like, oh, no. We're not trying to get everyone to not eat meat and dairy, and and ban flights and ban personal vehicle ownership. Well, no. We're not really doing that. That's conspiracy theory stuff. You're listening to these people that are against us. That's conspiracy theories. We're not doing any of that. However, they are doing that because they're enacting these policies that are doing that. So, like I said, France banned short haul flights, right? So, like, you're not allowed to get on a plane. I don't know what the distance is, right? But theoretically, say like you're not allowed to get in a plane for a plane ride that could take a 2-hour drive, say, right? Like you can't, that would be equivalent of like you're no longer allowed to fly from Boston to New York, right? You can just drive to New York or take the train or do something, right? Like, there's no more flights. Like I would imagine that's yeah. Hop in a
bicycle,
a horse and buggy, like the Oregon Trail. And then the UK banned the sale of gas vehicles by 2030. So after 2030, you can't buy a new gas powered car in the UK. But yeah, they're not actually trying to do any of this though. So don't listen to the people that say they are, because they're not, despite their actions.
At what point do I need to go buy a farm in the middle of fucking nowhere, build a golf course on it, and then just like live off the land? Like, at what point do I need to start doing this?
I think we're getting pretty close.
Because this is insane.
Yeah, this is pretty wild.
Luckily, I don't actually live in Boston, so there's that.
Same. I'm far enough away where I'm safe. And I also live in a part of the state where it's not very blue, which is kind of nice. But yeah, so like this is a legit thing, right? Like I said, New York is already enacting policies to stop serving meat and dairy in their like public facilities.
These places fucking suck. It's too bad New Orleans is on that list too. I like New Orleans.
Yeah. So the weird thing about it though too, right, is if you want to get really conspiratorial, but even not really, right? I say that, and now I take that back, because it's not conspiratorial, right? It's common sense. To your question that you said at the very beginning when I laid this out, what does clothing have to do with any of it? I don't know.
I'm missing
right?
the clothing thing still doesn't make any sense.
So if, again, I know we did this a couple episodes ago, right? Where it's like talking about politics, where it's like, I'm just a common fucking moron. But if you sit here and tell me to use common sense to try and figure out what all these things are leading to, right? I'm just trying to add 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 and, see if I get 10, right? And if I'm adding all these things up, to me, that's a population control thing, right? That's the ruling class, the quote unquote ruling class, is trying to establish parameters to keep the underclass in their place, right? Because the upper class aren't going to stop buying new clothes and eating meat and dairy and traveling on planes, right? Like all these people that are like, oh no, you have to stop flying and you need to buy an electric car and you can't do all this. They own private jets and they fly private jets everywhere. I mean, like Bill Gates and all these fucking losers that go to all these like climate summits. They all fly there on private jets. They're all billionaires, right? Like, you think Bill Gates eats a fucking vegan diet? I highly doubt it, right? Like, maybe he does because he looks like a bag of fucking shit, a literal bag of shit. Like if I went outside and grabbed a bag of Pickett's shit that I pick up and put it down, like that is the same body type of Bill Gates. So maybe he is a vegan. But it's like you're focusing on the things that don't matter, right? Like if you want, as goofy as it was when we talked about it a couple weeks ago, or a couple episodes ago at least, about the cargo ships with the sails on them. And it's like, hey, yeah, they're called sailboats, right? Like they've been around forever, but they have this like
Literally
new
forever.
thing. Like at least they're trying to do the effective thing, because cargo ships are the number one cause of emissions, I think, in the entire world. It's cargo ships. So like by putting stupid goofy ass sails on cargo ships, I mean, at least you're attacking the problem, right? In a head-on way. If the problem is emissions and cargo ships are the number one emissions, you're like, oh, I know, let's just put sails on them. Okay, well, it's dumb, but like you're heading in the right direction, right? Like you're warm, you're getting warmer, right? Like you're getting there. But when you're saying like you're trying to fix climate change and you're telling people they can only buy 3 pieces of clothing a year and they can't drink milk and they can't eat meat, it's like that's not effective. That's population control type of things. Like that's implementing policies to keep people oppressed in a way. That is it's oppression, right? In however way you want to look at it, that is oppression. You can only buy 3 pieces of clothing a year and you can't eat any meat or dairy.
That would be good going to your employer where they're like, okay, you need to wear like whatever to work. And it's like, sorry, man, I can't. I can only buy 3 pieces of clothing and that uniform is 5.
Yeah. Yeah. A shirt, tie, jacket, pants, and shoes. That's what? Shirt, tie, jacket, pants, shoes. That's 5.
Socks.
Socks, yeah.
Undershirt.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't either. Unless it is the whole control thing, right? You're trying to keep the people down. Like the zero private vehicles, too. 0 privately owned vehicles. Like they don't want anyone to own a car.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Well, it's all weird.
It's all weird, right? Like it's weird.
Well, I will say one thing. If you're in any of these cities and you don't like it, fucking leave.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's how you
it's the only thing you can do about it.
That's how you get shit to change. Right. I saw something the other day that the ESG stuff is already starting to slow down. So BlackRock, who we've talked about BlackRock before on the show, but BlackRock is wicked fucking sketchy. They basically have their hand in literally everything, especially in real estate now. Like they're part of the problem in real estate. They're going over all over the country and buying homes, like regular homes, and then renting them to people. So people will never be able to own a home. It's a whole thing. Whatever. You guys can go down your own rabbit holes with BlackRock. They're a fucking piece of shit company. But they invest in companies, right? Like that's what they do. They're a fund management company, mostly, right? So they invest their money in companies that have high ESG scores, which are environmental and social governance scores. That's what ESG stands for. So the whole reason why Bud Light went through the Dylan Mulvaney thing was for ESG points, right? Like it's all of the whole, like Target and their whole trans bathing suits and like, we got to do all this. It's all ESG. So because companies like BlackRock and Vanguard and all of these like money management firms assign scores to major companies all across the country, they assign an ESG score. So if your ESG score is 87, right, that's a B plus, you would get more money than someone who scored a 71 or a C minus, right? So how do you get these points? It's, the company policies, who's in what positions in the company. Is the person a woman? Are they trans? Are they fucking minority? How many? All this stuff. There's like an algorithm that, BlackRock, Vanguard, etc., go through and give major companies an ESG score, and that's how they determine, where their money is going to be invested into. So that's a lot of like the issues that have been driven more recently, like I said, with Bud Light and Target and things like that. It's the whole ESG bullshit, and why you see people like it's for lack of a better term, like the diversity hires. Basically, they're done on purpose to get more money from investors, right? They're trying to make their company look better. Well, there's been massive backlash to that over the last probably 6 months to a year, right? That we've seen in the public light with Target and Bud Light, but also behind the scenes with some other companies. And finally, I read an article, I think it was yesterday, that said BlackRock came out and said they're going to be loosening their guidelines on ESG investing. So they're going to not be as strict about investing money in companies solely based on their ESG score, because there's just been massive backlash by people all over the place. And it's like, that's how you fix the bullshit, right? And I said this when Bud Light was going through the whole thing in the first place. Like, this is how the market is supposed to work. This is how free market economics works. If there's a company that stands for something, right, that you don't like, then you don't spend your money with that company. And then they don't make money and they go out of business and they disappear if enough people don't like that company, right? Like, it's the whole thought process again behind free speech. And like, the country was founded on that, and the First Amendment, the protection of free speech. Like, you need to be able to allow the market to decide things. So like, yes, does it suck that someone could go dress up like Hitler and stand in front of the Holocaust memorial and perform whatever the fuck they want to perform? Yeah, that's really shitty. But if no one shows up to that rally, then is it ever going to happen again? No, probably not, right? Like, if no one donates to that fund, then it's going to run out of money and it's going to cease to exist, right? Like, people don't like what Bud Light stands for. They stop spending the money. The company tanks, right? Like, that's how it's supposed to work. So if all these people are finding out like, oh, this company is only doing all these things for their ESG score to get more money, well, stop spending your money with that company. And then their stock plummets. And then they freak out and they have to do all kinds of weird shit. And then because companies like BlackRock and Vanguard own a ton of stock in Target because Target had a high ESG score and people said, fuck Target, and stopped spending money there. Now BlackRock and Vanguard just lost a ton of money because the stock tanked and they were invested in that stock. So it's like, all of this has happened. And now it's brought us to BlackRock saying, maybe we should lessen our ESG investing. We're still going to take it into account, but it's going to be a little bit less than what it's been recently.
Now, I'm no financial advisor or stockbroker or anything. I could be wrong here. Wouldn't you want to invest in companies that you believe will make you the most money?
That's what you should do.
I mean, is that like a bad investment strategy? Like investing in the one that will earn you the most money?
To a normal fucking moron like me, that makes a ton of sense, right? But so I think
that's why I'm not on Wall Street.
I think what it comes down to is, again, it's what is it? Occam's razor, where it's like never attribute malice where incompetence can be the answer. Like, I think what is going on, right? So Larry Fink is the CEO of BlackRock. I think, again, I don't know the guy. I know nothing about him. I hate his company. I think it's wicked fucking sketchy, all the businesses that they do, what they're involved in. But I really do think that Larry Fink thinks he's doing good things, right? I believe that he thinks in his position as CEO of this. What did I say when we looked them up? What are they, like $14 trillion that they manage? They're the largest money management firm in the globe. And I think it's $14 trillion that they manage across their whole portfolio. So I really do believe that Larry Fink thinks that he is in a position where he needs to do these things to help people, right? He thinks that the ESG scores are important because it shows that companies are diverse and they're hiring on, whatever diverse things that they need to do. Their policies are protecting minorities and things like that. Because in theory, it sounds like a good thing, right? Like, to have a company that has a Black female CEO and a transgender fucking president of accounting or executive vice president of finance or something like that. Like, it sounds good, right? But like, it all comes back to, is that the best person for the job, right? Because if I'm a CEO of a company, I don't give a shit if a person is white, black, green, trans, woman, pansexual. I don't give a fuck. I want the best person for the job. If the best person to be my CFO, again, if I'm the CEO of the company, if the best person that I could find to be my CFO is a non-binary Black person that identifies as a Latino and on Tuesdays thinks that they're a cat. Okay, yeah, that's kind of fucking weird, but like, you're a goddamn fucking great CFO, so you're hired. Right? Like, that's what it should come down to. The unfortunate side of that is that's not always how it goes, right? And we see that in a lot of places. We see people get hired because they check a box, right? They check that ESG score box, right? So it's like, oh, if we hire these three people, our ESG score will go up. So then we'll get more money from investors and our stock prices will go up and, so on and so forth. So it's like, it ends up being bad, but the theory is good, right? Kind of like communism. Like, in theory,
good on paper.
It's fucking great, right? Like, and I understand it comes from a good place, right? It's a good-hearted theory. You're trying to help people, but in practice, it doesn't really always work that great. But
it does feel like everyone also is in a race, like a race for stupidity. Like, how stupid can you be?
Yeah.
And who can be the dumbest fastest?
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, it is starting to swing the other way. But I don't know. It's interesting all the same, right? So I don't know. Just fucking learn more about where you're spending your money, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I got.
Or just move out of the city, like you had said before.
I would just leave.
Right? Like, if you live in one of those cities that's trying to do something stupid, just leave the city. So, oh, you got anything else? Or you want to well, it's almost time to wrap up, I guess.
I don't know how long we've been going. I don't really have much else.
I haven't. Yeah.
I don't know what goes on in the world anymore.
That's what happens when we do 2 straight hours of podcasting.
Yeah. And again, it's like August is busy for me. I had a lot of golf to play. Just couldn't be bothered. I don't know what's happening in the world. And everything that's happening in the world is too fucking stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, this is going to be Thursday's episode, but we did have the meat party yesterday, which went pretty well.
We did have a meat party yesterday.
Yeah. All the food was delicious. Vinny, of course, of all people, stole the show with his on accident pulled pork that might have ended up being some of the best pulled pork that I've had ever, if not ever, in a very long time. So did you? Yeah, you had some, right?
I had some. It was good. Yeah. I didn't catch like the whole process because he also like didn't really explain it. It's like, oh, what'd you do to it? I don't know. Like, I was like up at 5 and the dog and 4:30, and I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, you're rambling about random time. Like, what time did you get up?
Yeah,
like, and why was it 4:30? And why was the dog going crazy with you at 4:30 making pulled pork? Like, what the fuck?
What does that have to do with the pulled pork recipe?
Yeah, so like, but like, what the fuck did you do to? I don't know. Couldn't get anything out of him.
Well, basically, what I got from him was I found this recipe, but as I was doing it at 4:30 in the morning, I realized that I didn't have what I needed from the recipe. So then I just made it up. So I was like, okay, so you made your own recipe? And I was like, can you send me whatever you did? And he was like, yeah, I'll send you the recipe that I used. And I'm like, but you didn't follow the recipe.
It's as infuriating as it sounds to interact with our friends.
Yeah.
Myself included. It's got to be awful to speak to me. It's got to be so bad.
I don't know why anyone wants to talk to us.
I don't.
And then you get us all together and it's just like a big ball of fucking dumb.
Yeah. Just pure awful.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
We got lucky on weather though.
We did. Yeah. It up until like the morning of it looked like it was gonna rain all day. And then we didn't get any rain at all. So it was supposed to rain all day today too. And obviously it didn't. And I was pissed because I probably could have golfed. I probably could have at least when it got out for 9 at some point, but I didn't make a tee time because I was like, well, it's going to rain all day. So
we didn't come close to the 50 pounds of meat though.
No.
Also a good thing we didn't, because what we did make didn't get eaten either. So
no, I have so many leftovers. I literally, like, I went to Market Basket today and I didn't buy any meat.
See, you'll fit right in these cities.
Well, we have a fridge full of meat.
See, just stop buying clothes and you'll fit right in.
Yeah. I'm just getting ready. I'm getting ready for 2030. I'm doing my part. I mean, because I bought 4 pounds of chicken wings from the meat bar, and the ribs that were, I don't know, maybe those were like 4 pounds, 5 pounds, maybe. It ended up being like $17. I don't know how much ribs go. What is it, like $3.99 a pound for ribs or something?
Yeah, something like that, I think.
So, 4-ish pounds of ribs, 4.5 pounds of chicken wings. Jones got the tri-tip that I think was probably 4 and change. Right? What does that put us at? Like 13 pounds total?
Ish.
Then Vinny brought pulled pork that was probably roughly 5 pounds, but it had the bone in.
Doesn't no, so, we don't do semantics.
Yeah, so 5 pounds there. And I mean, your jambalaya was pretty heavy, but it's not all meat.
Yeah, that was only like 2.5 pounds of meat in there.
Yeah. So 17 to, or we had roughly 20 pounds of meat.
The other thing is though, when we did Cunty Chris's, like his whole family was there, Christine's whole family was there.
Yeah.
Then it's like all the in-laws and whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whole thing.
And I mean, obviously Nick wasn't able to make it. Bill couldn't make it. So that's two guys that can eat. I don't
Also,
think
the 50 pounds was fucking crazy too. Like
yeah,
that was way too much food.
It's crazy to think that we had 20 pounds of meat yesterday and there was 50 pounds at Chris's house, because that's more than double what we had yesterday.
Yeah, but like the pork butt itself was like,
oh, I had I had the sausages too, the garlic and cheese sausage.
Yeah.
So
think
less, but still less than like probably 22 pounds, less than 25 pounds for sure.
Yes. We had some big stuff too. Like I think the pulled pork his father did was like 12.
Oh,
like
wow.
a 12-pound pork butt.
Yeah. Yep. And my fridge is full of meat still.
Well, credit to your fridge.
Yeah. I'm going to be eating it all week. It's fucking delicious. I ate it for both lunch and dinner today. Between all of it, between the ribs, the wings, the jambalaya, the mac and cheese, fucking everything. So it was good. It was worth it. I guess now we can wrap things up.
So I know like we're not like a pro cyclist show. But I would
you may go as far to say we could be anti-cyclist.
It's like if you want to ride a bike, fine, but it's like we need to seriously get to a point where cyclists either need to be a car or not, because they are like, again, when it's convenient, they're a car. When it's inconvenient, they're not a car. So it's like it's happened to me at the same intersection a couple times now. I'm at a stop sign. I see bikes coming, and I'm like, they're not going to stop at this stop sign. There's no way. Like, there's not a chance they're going to stop at this stop sign. They're going to drive. They're riding in the middle of the road, but they're not going to stop at the stop sign. Now, I was lucky where I beat them to the stop sign both times.
Yeah.
But then, like, even today, it was like 3 bicycles in the middle of the road. One person threw like a left turn up, and then like 2 of them took the turn, but one didn't take the turn. So it's like, what are we like? What the fuck are we doing here? Like, and then it's like, so are we gonna be cars or are we not gonna be cars? And then if there's 3 of you together, are you like one car, or is this like you one car with passenger? Like, what the fuck now?
Yeah,
because it was like one of the guys because like one of the guys didn't make the turn, so I just kept going. Like, I'm like, what are you like? What are we doing? Like, are you cars or not cars? And like, if you're not cars, get the fuck out of here. And if you are cars, just play by the fucking rules.
Yeah.
Figure it the fuck out.
Yeah, it's not that hard to just follow the fucking rules.
Like, if you're gonna be a car, if you're gonna drive in the middle of the road, you should pretend you're a car.
Yes.
Stop at stop signs.
Yes, I 100% agree.
And if you're making a turn and I'm going straight, I'm probably not letting you go. So fucking wait on your side.
Right. Just like you would in a car.
Yeah. So if you're going to be in the middle of the road, fucking act like a car. Fucking assholes.
Yeah. Well,
especially in places where there are no bike lanes, there are no, like, there's no space.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be in the middle of the road, be in the middle of the fucking road.
The best part is like the shitbags in Cambridge that have their own bike lanes and have their own stoplights too. Like the I think it's the BU bridge that I think that's where it is, that because I go across the BU bridge and the Harvard or the MIT bridge quite a bit. but I think there's like an area right around the BU bridge where they actually have bicycle stoplights.
Well, I got them at like Leechmere area too. That's
Yeah.
where I first saw them. I brought it up one time because I saw it
Yeah.
going to my grandmother's.
And they still don't follow them.
No, because again, it's when convenient.
So it's like we gave you your own lane, we gave you your own stoplights, and you still choose to just fucking ignore the stoplights. So, like, in my opinion, as awful as this sounds, if you get hit by a car and you had a red bicycle light, that's your fault. That's your own fault.
And actually, I bet you'll start that'll start to be a thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you ran your red bike light.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's gonna be, I think it'll take a while, but there's gonna be a fucking time where bicycles are gonna everyone's gonna be moving to bicycles or trying to get them all involved, whatever. And it's like if you're gonna be in the road, you have to be a car. Like,
well, yeah, because by 2030, no one's allowed to own a car.
That's true. No one can have a car.
Yeah.
Cambridge should be one of those C40s.
Yeah, basically is. But yeah, so, bikes are fucking stupid.
Again, just like we're at war, pick a side.
All right. Well, my final thought is so obviously if you're not like if this isn't the first episode that you're ever listened to or watched, if it is, welcome, but most likely it's not. You guys know that we are having a kid soon, right? That was a part of the whole reason with the meat party and all that stuff. So my work gives me 4 weeks fully paid for paternity leave. Right. So it's a sliding scale. Like if you've worked there for, I think it's less than 4 years, you get 4 weeks. And if you've been there for more than 4 years, they give you 8 weeks. But in the state of Massachusetts, there's the PFML, which is the Paid Family Medical Leave Act, which covers you for 12 weeks of leave. So whether your work gives you any, the state will cover the difference up to 12 weeks, right? So in my case, my job will give me 4 weeks. So the state provides me with 8. So I go through the application process. Everything's all set. I got my application in a while ago. The only thing I need to, actually certify it and start it is the birth certificate from the baby. So as soon as I get them the birth certificate, boom, they'll file it, they'll make it official, and I'm on leave. But in talking to one of the people on the phone, I discovered that they don't actually give you 8 weeks. They tell you, we give you 8 weeks. However, they only pay you for 7. So the first week of the 8 weeks is unpaid. Now, we don't have to go down and get into like the nitty gritty logistics here, but because it is also the state, my pay is capped at it caps at a certain number, right? So it doesn't go above this number, regardless of what you make in a year. And whatever the number that it is, the cap of, I think is probably like roughly 50%. It's a little bit more. It might be like 55% of my actual salary, right? So I'm going to live off. So for 8 weeks, when I'm getting paid from the state, I'm not getting paid for 1 week at all, because while I'm out, my job doesn't pay me. That's the whole thing, right? Like my job doesn't pay me, the state does. So for this 8-week period, I'm only getting paid for 7. And of those 7 weeks, I only get paid 55% of my normal salary that I normally would get paid for my job, because the state, won't pay above a certain amount per week. So yeah, I get it, right? Like because anyone out there, especially someone that's older, like if you're a fucking Gen Xer or a boomer, like, oh, well, why are you taking all those time off? Like all the guys I work with, right? Because I work in the white collar industry. Also, all the guys in like their 50s, 60s, 70s are like, what do you mean you're taking off 12 weeks for a baby? Don't you have a wife? It's like, yeah, man, this isn't 1970 where like, the dad just disappears all day and the wife stays home and works and takes care of the baby. Like, one, the way, like, that's not how the world works anymore. But two, it's very difficult for people to live off of a single salary now. It was a lot easier for that in the 70s, 80s, and even the 90s, right? For families to be supported off of a single salary. Now it's not so easy. So there's a lot of different factors there, right? But, I talk to older people at work and they're like, wow, you're going to take all 12 weeks, huh? Yeah. Yeah, I'm allowed to. Why would I take less than what I'm allowed? Well, I just figured you'd want to get back to work. I mean, I'm allowed to take 12 weeks, so I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. But yeah, I just think it's hilarious that it's a sham from the state. And I don't know if you're going to say shame on me for thinking that the state would be any better. I guess I'll allow you to say that and shame me. But what a fucking joke, dude. They're like, oh yeah, we'll pay you for 8 weeks, but we're not going to pay you more than this much a week. And I know we said we'll cover you for 8 weeks, but we're only going to pay you for 7.
Yeah, isn't there also like you can only get paid what you've put in? Like, is it one of those situations too?
No.
Or is that
might be something different?
Or is that something else through that program, but not the paternity side?
Yes, I think that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah. It's the same program, but it's something different.
Yeah, because you can take like medical leave, but
right.
Because you're taking paternity specifically. Like, yeah, I think you could take a medical leave, but then it's like you can only earn what you've like paid into it. And then it's like, if you want more, they're going to withhold more like in the future. It's something stupid. Like,
yeah,
it's like one of those things like, hey, we have this program, but if you want to use it, like your life is hell.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I found this out, when I was talking to the person on the phone, the woman was super nice that I talked to from the PFML office in the state. But I was like, so why do you say that you cover 8, but you only pay for 7? And her response was, well, usually people just take vacation for that first week. And I was like, because she goes, so you still get paid. I was like, but so then you don't cover for 8. She's like, well, we do cover you for 8. But you don't, because I only get paid for 7. She's like, yeah, but that first week, between processing and all this stuff, it's you're protected from your job. You're not going to lose your job in that week. I was like, so why don't you just tell people that you
pay for 7?
You pay for 11 weeks of paternity leave. Like,
because
why? If you work for a job,
it's 11, then it's only 10.
Well, then it's 10. Yeah, yeah. But like, say it's 11 if you pay for 11, right? Like, just do what you say.
Why would it be that?
I know. So like, if someone's job didn't give them any paternity leave, the state would be like, oh, don't worry, we got you for 12 weeks. Oh, but by the way, we're only going to pay you for 11, and the number is capped at this much.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So like, let's just say, let's use your math. So if you make $100K a year, and let's just pretend that they give you half. So you are getting a prorated based on 50,000, or you know what? I'm going to use 104. So say you make $104,000 a year, divide that by 52. That's $2,000 a week.
Right.
So they're going to pay you $1,000 a week because they're only giving you half.
Right.
And they're going to do it for 7 weeks. So the sum is $7,000 in this situation.
And then take taxes out of that too.
Correct. All they would do is, if they were going to pay you for the 8, you would still get the $7,000. You would just make less for each week. That's all it would be. Like,
right.
And that's why, like, you hear some people like make these arguments. It's like all they're gonna do is just move the money around. Like you get what you get. That's it.
Right. Right.
Like if they gave it to you in a lump, like the only reason they don't give it to you in a lump sum is because then you would just go back to work.
Right.
But that's all they would do. If the number, like again, if you make $104,000, hypothetical situation, you make $104,000 a year, and they're paying you about 50%, it's $7K. So you're getting $7,000, whether it's 7 weeks or 8 weeks, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's like, well, it should pay for 8. It's like, okay, well, instead of 1,000, you get 800. Like it's it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Or 850, whatever it would be, like whatever that math comes out to.
Yeah.
Like you're only getting what you get.
But it's also a sliding scale based on your salary up to a certain amount, right? So like if you make $52,000 a year, right? And you make $1,000 a week, you're probably not going to get the $1,000 a week from the state. It's the thousand, like again, and just in this hypothetical situation, if $1,000 is the maximum, like you'll only get $1,000 a week if you make more than $52,000 a year, right? Yeah. So it's like
or 104.
Yeah, if you make $104,000 a year, you'll get the equivalent of $52,000 a year for 7 weeks. But if you make 52 a year, you may only get the equivalent of like $30,000 for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like you get this much up to here. It's a percentage up to here, not to exceed.
So you know what the real flaw in your logic is, right? Is you're
relying on the state for anything.
Well, yeah. Number one, that's on you.
Yeah.
That's fucking on you.
Yeah.
So if you thought the state was going to do something for you, that's fucking your fault. That's no one else's fault. That's not the state's fault. That's not sketchy shit by the state. That's on you. You and you alone, because you fucking should know better than that.
Correct.
They can't make the deal that good because then everyone will use it. If every mother and father maxed out their PFML through the state, how low do you think that percentage would be the following year? It'd be fucking 30%. It would be comical. You may as well just go on unemployment.
Yeah.
You would actually, truthfully, probably just be better off taking 2 weeks from your employer and just being like, please just don't fire me. And they're like, we won't fire you, but you got to be back in 2 weeks. It's like, okay, sounds good. No, because if the deal was good, everyone would use it, and then the program doesn't work. Because again, this is all just math. This is all just math. All we're doing is math. Like, they figured out some dollar figure, and then they figured out how many people are going to cash this thing in. They just divide and whatever. So if the deal was good, everyone would use it. And then you don't have the deal anymore because it doesn't, like, the system doesn't work. It's almost like it's almost like insurance, which is a fucking scam too.
Right.
If everyone like used everything that they needed to use, like, it doesn't work.
Right.
Or like a car insurance. If everyone had a claim every single fucking year, the insurance system would fucking collapse.
Yeah.
They rely on people not using it.
Right. It's like a gym membership.
Right. So, like, that's why that is that way. And truthfully, like, to be perfectly honest, like, if I was going to speak from my own personal listenings, like from what I listen to, it is rare for most fathers to max out the PFML and whatever their employer offers. That could be because whatever, like, again, that rate, like the 55%, they just look at it and go, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I may as well just go, like, again, I may as well just take 2 weeks vacation and just go back to work.
Right.
And especially, like, again, because you said, again, it's a sliding scale. So if you even don't get 55%, fucking good luck.
Yeah.
Or if you work off commission, oh my God, that's got to be so fucking messy.
Yeah.
Like if you're a sales guy, you work on commission. Oh, ew. So yeah, moral of the story, I guess shame on you for using that program. Is that what we were getting at?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yep. So great state we got here.
Well, what do you think it is in other states?
Oh, they probably don't even have that.
Yeah.
So you only have to rely on your job.
Yeah, the only reason you have this luxury is because of where you do live.
Correct. Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, you'd be the classic, oh, the baby was born and I was back at work in 5 minutes
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck
Yeah.
some of these people say.
Yeah.
Paternity leave, I took 2 days.
Yeah, like the guys that are in their 60s that I work with. Like, oh,
yeah, well, back then,
you're actually going to take your paternity leave.
To be fair, there wasn't paternity leave back then.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was
there was no protection for employees back then.
Yeah,
and there was probably like no retaliation clauses either, where like if you were like, oh, I'm gonna take paternity leave, and they go, for how long? 2 weeks. Just don't come back.
Yeah.
Like, we're good. If you're gonna take 2 weeks, like, we're good here.
Yeah. So, well, it's also funny too, because I mean, obviously through this whole process, you talk to a bunch of different people that have had kids or also in the process, and you hear all this shit, right? And people are like, well, in Europe they get this, or in like Sweden.
We fucking live in Europe.
Sweden is the big one. They're like, well,
we live in fucking
Sweden, they give parents 6 months.
Do we live in Sweden, or have you ever fucking been to Sweden?
Exactly, right. And it's like, yeah, man, like that's pretty cool, but like we don't live there.
Have you ever met a fucking Swedish person that came here and then fucking went back?
Only ones that are on a visa. That they have.
Yeah, they went back by
force. They have to go back. Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah, the few Swedish people I know, it's a great place to visit. Sounds good.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh, great place to visit.
So yeah, that's gonna do it. It's gonna do it for us. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to click subscribe up top. Give us a thumbs up down there, and comment. You can like and review us if you're an audio only guy too. Subscribe there as well. Tell everybody you know about the show. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is Sarcasm_Speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. Website, sarcasmspeaks.com. Go to the merch store, buy some of our merch through the link in our Instagram bio. And while you're buying shit, you can go spend some money at mybookie.com and use the promo code SarcasmPod to double your first deposit up to $1,000. And then you can head to noonbrew.com, which I was drinking in this episode. If you're watching, you can see. You go to Noon Brew, use the promo code that is in the show notes, and you will get 10% off your order every single time you check out over there. And last but not least, we have the Ice Pod company. You go to their website. I think it's I always mess it up. I think it's thepodcompany.co. And use the promo code in the show notes to get $10 off of your purchase over there, and free shipping. I think it's $10 off plus free shipping. I always forget that part. So that's going to do it for us. Until next time, good night, everybody.